everyone, and welcome back to another video. I promised you I would get better, and the plan is going to be Sunday evenings are going to be my upload. So most weeks will just be a week in the life of our homemade adventures. But tonight I thought I'm going to do something different because, being completely honest, I've got no clips from this week. I have one clip, so that's not going to make a very good video. So instead, today I thought I'm going to do something that I love watching. So I've been making some notes over the past few hours about things people get wrong about home ed. And I don't mean people who are home ed educating getting things wrong. I mean people's impression of home ed. Things that get wrong and some truths from somebody who's done it for over a year now. I'm going to go straight in with number one, which is my pet hate, which is that home ed kids sit around all day. So a lot of people, when they say, so what do you do all day? And I think the assumption is that they're just sticking paper together, or they're just collecting acorns all day, or I think that's a lot of the impression people have when you say they are home educated. We used to be so nervous about saying that the kids were home educated. So if someone would say in a shop, oh, is school not on today? And you've probably all had that. They'd say, school not on? And I would hesitate, or I would say, oh no, not today, or make some, they haven't been well, whatever. I used to be nervous about the backlash, I suppose. But now, as I'm quite confident to say, oh no, they're actually home educated, you'll get one of the, there's some more to come on my list, but one is like, oh, what do you do all day? Or, oh, do you not miss the piece? And you'll get many different opinions, I suppose. So the fact that they sit around all day, we are never sitting around for a full day. Sometimes a Sunday, but that is, we home ed. I say we home ed every day. We do something every day. On a Sunday, that's normally our science video. Our reading time, we'll have like silent reading time where we all do our own book. We're keeping a log of how many books we read over the year. So yeah, something every day. But during the week, we are out. There's not a day, I don't think, when we're certainly not sitting around all day. So yeah, that is goes in at my the first one that comes to mind when I think what people get wrong about home educating. Number two, which if you watched my last video, is that home educated children won't be able to socialise, or won't be socialised when they're older.
Stop the Whoa.
Absolute rubbish, which any home ed parent will laugh if they say, how do they socialise then? Or do they not miss socialising with other kids? The communities are huge, absolutely huge. Our home ed Facebook group has got hundreds of parents on there, all every week willing to meet up, do things. So yeah, I posted last week or the week before suggesting that we set up a Pokemon trading game club for the kids. I had maybe 20 responses saying, yep, yes, you're spoiled for choice. Whatever you want to set up for your child's interests, you can. So yeah, the fact they won't be socialised. My son in particular is more sociable now than he has ever been in his 10 years. We used to say, before we got his autism diagnosis, we used to say he was shy. Looking back now, he was never shy because he always had something to say and he always wanted to. It was the social etiquette and the other. But yeah, he wasn't shy. And now he lives such a sociable lifestyle. He meets up with friends 5 days out of 7, I would say. Different sets of friends, not the same friends. He's spoiled for choice. So yeah, that is number 2. Number 3 is that the parents must be a teacher or must be qualified to home educate. I have not been to university. I did A-levels and done okay at school, and certainly I'm not a teacher. I've never had, my jobs have never been in education. My husband does have a degree. He is, very clever, but he's not a teacher. You do not have to be a teacher. You do not have to have A-levels. You do not have to have GCSE. You do not have to have any particular background to be a home educating parent. You just need to be willing to have your child with you all week. That can be difficult. I totally understand for some parents, because if you work 9 to 5 in an office or a shop, you can't home educate your kids. I mean, you could ask somebody else to have them during the week, and I know people's parents, so the children go to their grandparents. It can be done if you want it enough. It can be done, but you do not need to be a teacher. There are so many resources online that anybody, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say anybody, but the majority of people would be able to successfully home educate their children if they put the work, the planning, a bit of thought. Every night I prep for the next day. Doesn't take me long, can be done in half an hour. In the last video I showed you my planning board. I use a board where I put obviously date, word of the day, work that is to be done for that day, and groups that we're doing for that day. I write that out obviously the night before, ready for the morning. My daughter runs down to see word of the day. It's just routine. That's comfort for her, having that routine. So yes, you do not have to be a teacher. As long as you're willing to put the work in and the prep in, you can be successful at home educating your children. Number 4. Now, I don't know if everyone thinks this, but I have had it a few times, is that you need expensive curriculums and you need expensive materials. Home education can cost a fortune if you want to go down that route. There are some amazing curriculums. We, I'd say follow, but we use a curriculum called Exploring Nature with Children. We just do it 1 day a week. We do what we've chosen to do. So say this week has been Moon Week. So 1 day this week, we have focused on that topic. Some people will do that every day and they will fully follow that curriculum. We just use it and obviously it's a full year-long weekly curriculum with a topic. So next week, I believe, is winter tree study. The week after is winter pond study. So each week has something to look at and focus. I just do it 1 day a week, and then I do other things on the other days. It's entirely up to you. There are so many. Etsy is fantastic for curriculums, for topic packs, activity guides. There's all sorts you can get on there. But equally, you could buy a workbook for $1.99 from the works, and you might say, right, that's going to be our base, and then we'll go off from there. It's entirely up to you. What works for us day to day is that we use an app called Century Tech. We do it for English, maths and science every day. They do what they call a nugget of English, a nugget of maths, a nugget of science every day. And that is based on the UK curriculum. So we use that app. It's fantastic, absolutely amazing. We then do we do groups during the week, external groups, so tutor-led groups. We add those in. We do the Exploring Nature with Children. We do copy work, which is basically handwriting practice each day. We do workbooks. We do a bit of everything. We sprinkle it in where I see fit. If they've got a busy day and I think they've done far too much today, it gets dropped. As long as I'm getting that work done over the week, happy mama. Number 5 is that there are no rules, and they're just these unruly, wild, feral kids, and they can be a lot more wild and feral than they could if they were sat at a desk for 6 hours a day. But I'm quite structured. I love structure. I like to know, hence the board. Love to them to know, and for me to know. I have ADHD diagnosis, and my life wouldn't work without routine and structure. That's how I need. So for me to be a successful home ed parent, yeah, we've got to have structure. Some parents will choose to have absolutely none, and they're completely child led. It doesn't work for me, but I can totally see how it works for others. My children have something called PDA, which is pathological demand avoidance. So they struggle with instruction, direct instruction. Rephrasing things really helps. They feel any demand as a threat, and it triggers anxiety, and it can be really difficult. Even just me writing it down can soften it, or sending them a message on their device can soften the request, rather than me saying, right, we're doing this now, because that causes a bit of a firework. Any PDA parents will feel me when I say that. So yeah, there are lots of rules in my version of home ed. Person A, B, C will all have their own version of home ed. Nobody's is correct, nobody's is incorrect. It's you do you. Yeah, just support other parents, because life's hard enough, isn't it? Number 6 is that they will fall behind. Now I say behind. There is no behind in home ed. When my son first came out of year 4, I was obsessed with the fact he should be here. He should be here in this. He is exactly where he should be. Maybe that's because he hasn't been out particularly long, but I am not measuring. As long as he's improving and he's showing improvement, in his areas that we're covering, so numeracy, literacy, science, what we've chosen to do, we do pretty much follow the curriculum. So we do a lot of the same things probably they would be doing in school. We just do it our way. Yeah, they're never ever, it's not possible for them to fall behind, because we're not holding them in the same way. They may do it a little bit later, but in my books there's no behind. They just haven't got to that bit yet. That's not behind. They've just done a different route. My son can make a full meal from start to chopping and washing the veg, right through to serving it up on a plate, setting the table, setting the candles, lighting. He can make a full. Now he's been doing that since about 8 years old. That maybe another child that knows every times table like that off by heart may not be able to do. So they've just took a different route. There's no behind. Number 7, totally conscious that I'm rabbiting on for 13 minutes now. Number 7 is it's you just want an excuse to stay at home. They just want to stay at home. They don't want to leave the house. We are never in the house. We are never in the house. We are, like I say, Sunday is our chill day, and mainly because we've got chores, hence my unmade bed. We do all the chores and jobs and things, kids included. They muck in. My son loads the dishwasher. My daughter's, what was her chore this morning? The washing machine, putting the washing in, putting the bedding in. We're never in the house. It's certainly not. I am busier than I have ever been, being a home educating parent. So yeah, it's certainly not an excuse to stay in the house. That is doesn't really take much explanation. It's just rubbish. Number 8 is that they hate learning, or they will hate learning later in life. Not at all. I have found the absolute opposite, and I've got an amazing example from this week, which I'm so proud of, and I will try and insert a clip here. My son takes part in a Pokemon club. during the week online. He does it online on the £2 tuition hub. My son couldn't get a pen license when he was at school, and a pen license, I'm not sure if every school does this, but a pen license is when they've passed enough pages in their book of perfect writing. I won't go into a rant, but what the teacher, and every teacher is different, deems to be perfect writing. He couldn't get a pen license. So our number one thing is that he can write with a pen whenever he wants to. If he gets it wrong, he can rub it out. If he gets it wrong, he can Tipp-Ex it, just like an adult would. There's no need for a pen license. It's something I'm strongly, strongly against. But it made him hate writing, and it made him hate showing me any work that he had written because he didn't feel like it was good enough, all related to the fact he couldn't get a pen license. So this week he went off to he went downstairs, headphones on, doing his Pokemon club, and it was poetry week. Now, the poem, which you hopefully have just seen that I've input, was completely on his own. He's wrote that completely on his own. It's an acrostic poem, so he's wrote the name Arceus, I'm not sure what the name is, which is obviously a Pokemon. And then each letter is the start of the sentence in the poem. Like, I was gobsmacked, blown away that my child that couldn't get a pen license, I could have cried. I probably did get a little bit emotional. It's just amazing, and that shows he is learning to love learning instead of he hated writing. He thought writing he was always going to get it wrong. So obviously I've really praised him, and he was absolutely thrilled with himself, so proud of himself. I even watched the class back because you get it on a recording. I watched the class back to hear the teacher's response, and she was so positive about his poem. He was just buzzing, you could just see. So the fact that they'll hate learning or that they do hate learning, he probably did hate writing when he came out of school because of the trauma of trying so desperately hard to get this license. But I can honestly say from this club last week when he wrote, not because I let him type when he wants, if he's not feeling like writing, he was thrilled and he absolutely loved it. Number 9, again, I don't know whether a lot of people think this, but that it's only for rich or well-off families. We are, my husband works, I don't work, to be able to look after the children. But we're not a rich family. We are okay. We do okay. I would say we're probably mid. When just we are okay. My husband works. He's got a good job. He's not absolutely rolling in it. We haven't got a huge dispensable income or anything like that. You can do home ed as cheap or, as I've said before, expensive. It can cost a fortune. When you are getting no funding towards this, and a half an hour to an hour class can cost £10-15. We go to a forest school, they go to an hour and a half. No, it's 2 hours, sorry. 2 hours a week. Automatically, for both of them, I'm paying nearly £30 out for £25 for both of them to go to a 2-hour group. It's well worth it because they get an absolute load from it, but it's a lot of money. So you do have to make sacrifices if you want them to go to those groups. So I then have to go home and not spend money. If they'd have been in school, I probably would have been going and meeting friends, having lunch, doing this, doing that. So I've probably sacrificed more, which is okay. I'm absolutely fine with that. But yeah, you do not have to be a rich family. You just need to be able to manage, I suppose, what you've got. You don't need anything. There are free groups. There are places like £2 Tuition Hub where you can get the full 5 or 6 week half term for a tenner. You don't have to be a rich family. Please don't ever put people off or feel put off by the thought that you need to have money to home educate, because it's just not true. Number 10, which I have heard, unfortunately, is that it's not real life, or it's not real life learning. my opinion is that it is better than what, yeah, obviously I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think it was better. They learn real life, they meet real people every day, they meet adults every day, different adults. They meet adults in shops, in places we visit, in museums, in play parks, in their classes. They meet tutors online. They're in a class. Normally, I would say my 10-year-old's probably in a class of age 7 to 12. So that wide range. They're not just meeting their own age. And I've put posts on Instagram about this recently, because mixed age learning, I think, is so powerful when the older kids can help the younger and the younger can learn from the older. I think that's such a powerful thing, that mixed age learning. Yeah, it is certainly real life. It is more real life than being in a room of 30 children the same age, and those same children, like, I always put myself in that position and think, if I was in an office of 30 38-year-olds and I had to sit 6 hours every day with those same 38-year-olds, how would I feel? And I think I would probably be on the edge. You want a bit of variety, don't you? You want to see different people every day. Well, I do anyway. Yeah, I just, of course, it's real life. They just learn so much. They're learning about the environment. They're learning, like we were at Amazon last week. That's real life. What else are they? Yeah, they're just, there's so much things. We've got a workshop coming up from an environmental agency. My daughter was litter picking as part of we're going for her green Blue Peter badge. It's real life. These aren't just, we're not just colouring in. Home education is not just colouring in pictures. Please don't let any of these myths put you off, and I hope I have dispelled some. But yeah, Sunday evenings from now on are going to be our upload date. So I'm going to try, I've never done shorts before, so if you've got any ideas for shorts that might work for a home ed channel, that would be great. My daughter would love to start sharing environmental, nature, she's really into protecting animals, litter picking, wasting water, all that type of thing. She's very much against all of that. So if we can maybe put little shorts up of that, would that, do you think that would work alongside this channel? Or let me know your thoughts. I'm happy to chat in the comments. We have very low views, obviously, because this is brand new to us. But yeah, we really appreciate the support. We do have a Learning Unleashed Instagram as well. I'm not as active. I'm definitely going to be posting on here on a Sunday. I will try and post more on Instagram day to day. But yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll speak to you soon.